If your real estate channel has recently started to look like this, or you haven't hit that big spike that you thought you would, it may be because you're making one of the 7 mistakes that I'm going to cover today. And it could be holding you back from getting views and, most importantly, getting leads. How do I know that? Well, my business partner and I work with some of the fastest growing real estate channels, and we've seen them make every single mistake that we're going to talk about today. And as soon as we fix those mistakes, not only did their channel start growing again, but their business did too. In this video, I'll share the most common mistakes that agents make on YouTube, how you can make sure you don't make those mistakes, and at the end, I'm also going to give you something that you can do as soon as today to help increase the amount of leads that you're getting. Now, the first mistake is one of the easiest mistakes to fix, and if you change this, you'll see a pretty quick boost in viewership. Now, here I've got a channel in front of me based out of Denver, Colorado. You can see here they've made 100 videos. They have consistently gotten anywhere from about 100 to 200-ish views per video. Fortunately, they just stopped actually creating content. It's because they're making the mistake that I'm about to talk about right now. But let's bring it back. Let's take a look here months back at their thumbnail, and this is really what I want to point out. They posted different topics, all with a very similar thumbnail, and then they switched a few months ago into a different style, but again, it was the same type of thumbnail, same fonts, same, 2 agents are on the screen. They may have a little bit of a different background, but it's pretty much identical. And whenever we're looking at a channel and we're analyzing it, the title and the thumbnail is one of the first things that we take a look at, because that's what we call the packaging. The way that the title and the thumbnail work together, the way your audience looks at it. If your audience likes the packaging, they're gonna click. If your audience doesn't like the packaging, they're not gonna click. And so we really need to make sure that our packaging is the best that it can be. Now, what they're doing wrong here is not that they're doing the same thumbnail over and over and over again, because let me just give you another channel here. This is a channel in Las Vegas with 61,000 subscribers, and you can see here he's doing the same exact thumbnail over and over and over again, right? It's just him, some kind of scared face or shocked face, and it's property behind him with just some crazy text like awful news, dirty pigs, this is bad. We can see here he's doing the same thing. He's been doing it for a long time. The difference here is he's doing something over and over and over again that he knows works, okay? His videos are consistently performing, and he's doing it over and over again. The difference with the other channel is they're doubling down on something that doesn't work. So this thumbnail is consistently not performing, right? And a lot of times they're probably gonna look at their channel and say, oh, maybe the keywords are bad, or we're not doing the right things in terms of our video, or our hook is bad, but it all comes down to the packaging. If you're really struggling to get viewership in the beginning, the first thing you wanna be changing is your packaging, your title and your thumbnail. It's the most important thing that people see. A lot of people focus on the video itself, the scripting, how it's going to look, and the thumbnail becomes almost an afterthought. The title becomes almost an afterthought, when really that's one of the most important things. And a lot of times with our agents, we'll have the title and the thumbnail already planned before we even write out an outline or a script and have our agent shoot that, because it's that important. And so a way that you can fix this is simply by going to channels that are successful. So one of the channels I was looking at earlier that you can take a look at is a channel like Living in Atlanta or Living in Tampa. I mean, there's some channels that have a couple thousand subscribers. And if you go to their channel, you'll see here they're creating lots of different content, right? It's not the same thing over and over and over again. They're creating different things, but clearly we can see some videos that have some more viewership, 31,000, 9,000, 3,000. And so what we can do is we can look at how they've done their thumbnail and how they've done their title, and we can emulate some of that with our own channel. Your Guide to Highlands Ranch, Colorado, for example. Let's take a look at this video. It has 141 views 8 months ago. I mean, they could have packaged it in this way, why everyone's moving to Atlanta, Georgia, and why you should too, with a similar thumbnail right here, right? With people there, with his surprise face, and then some kind of text with the background. So you can emulate a lot of this stuff, and that's really going to help you get started. Now, I would say the execution on a lot of the thumbnails are not the best. Me personally, I'd like to see, there's definitely some things I would change on this, but overall, the concept is a pretty good starting point. So if you're struggling to get viewership, it's one of the quickest things that you can do on your channel. Just go ahead, look at some channels that have good viewership and see what their packaging is and how you can do that for some of your own videos. Now, that's an easy mistake, but this next mistake is even more important because it's one of the most common mistakes I see agents make. I want you to imagine that you just met someone. You've never talked to them before, you've never been on a date with them before, and you walk up to them and you ask them if they'll marry you. That would be crazy. Nobody would ever do that, right? You would need to obviously get to know them first. You need to go on dates first. You need to make sure you met their friends, their family, and then propose, and eventually you'd get married. Everybody knows for a relationship, you need time and you need trust. So why do we do exactly the opposite in our own videos? I want to show you a video intro done by an agent. It was posted 4 days ago, and this just shows you that agents are still doing this, and this is a big mistake, and you need to get out of the habit of doing this. So let's go ahead and play her intro.
We get calls all the time from people who are planning on moving to or around the Atlanta metro area. I am always so happy to get those calls. So if you want to text me, call me, email, and don't forget to like and subscribe, because that really means a lot to me too. Thank you.
All right, so we just saw the first 15 seconds of her video. Now, if I'm a viewer and I click on this video, again, the title is Uncover Atlanta's Best Kept Secret, Stunning New Construction Homes in Top Suburb for Cheap. And the first thing I see is her trying to pitch me. I'm gonna click off, right? I'm gonna be turned off because she's just, sending me her email and her phone number and all that stuff. What I wanna see is stunning new construction homes in a top suburb for cheap. So what she could have done is she could have started the video saying, hey guys, today we're in this beautiful suburb of so-and-so. We're gonna be touring some of the most affordable and stunning new construction homes that I've ever seen. And so I wanna make sure that if you're thinking of buying a home here in so-and-so, that you are able to look at these homes, check them out. So let's go ahead and we'll hop right into one. You're confirming what that video is actually about. Then as you start showing these homes and you show the interior, you show the outside, you talk about the prices, then you can say something like, hey, by the way, if you're thinking of moving, I get calls all the time from my videos. So if you are thinking of moving and you want an affordable new construction house, I'd love to help you make that move. So you can call me or text me. I'll talk to you soon, right? Something along those lines would be perfect for how we want to, one, confirm the click when someone clicks on the content. And then a couple minutes into the video, once we've given them some value, that's when we can tell them what we do, and if they need some help, they can reach out, okay? But we don't want to do that in the beginning. That's going to cause your viewer to click, then they're going to click off and go watch somebody else. It's a really fast way to not grow a YouTube channel. And just to go a step further, I want to show you the actual data behind a video that we did recently. So there's a video that we have here for one of our channels, and you can see this retention graph right here where we look at how long people are watching. We can see that in gray is kind of our average there. So this video is falling underneath that average. Now, most people would look at this video and say, oh, it's a terrible video, when in fact, great video. It has over 16,000 views. It's performing really well. But there's one piece here which really made this retention chart be a lot lower than it should be. So if you look here, you'll see in the beginning, we dropped down to about 72%, totally fine. In that first 30 seconds, you'll typically see that kind of drop. But from 25 seconds to 51 seconds, we go from 72% to 49%. That's a 23% additional drop there before the first minute. And then throughout the rest of the video, it kind of carries strong. So imagine that if this piece was not here, how well that would have carried. We probably would have ended roughly about 30-ish% retention, 25-30-ish% retention on a 21-minute video, which is still really strong. So let me play the clip here to show you what was from 25 seconds to 51 seconds.
I think is the most underrated neighborhood in all of Las Vegas. My name is Olga and I make videos about living in Las Vegas. I'm also a real estate agent here. So if you have any questions as you're watching this video about real estate in the Las Vegas Valley or real estate in this neighborhood right here, feel free to text me, call me, send me an email, and I would be more than happy to answer any and all of your questions. And with that, let's hop into this video.
The only thing that we're doing wrong here is we're asking for people to reach out, contact us here in the beginning, when we really want to push that out a little bit further to when we're giving them some value, and then we can ask for that later. So best thing to do is, somewhere between 30 to 40% is a great place to put one kind of call to action, and then another call to action can be towards the end of the video. The next mistake is probably the biggest mistake that's holding you back from growing. That's because YouTube is all about leverage. We have the ability to reach hundreds of thousands of people very, very quickly. And that means the way that you win on YouTube is by having more leverage than the other people around you who are also competing with you. So how do we actually get more leverage than the other agents in our market? Well, let's pull over here to a channel in Las Vegas. You can see that he's consistently making videos, posting about twice every single week. So he's very consistently putting out content, 26-minute videos, 14-minute, 20 minutes, 16 minutes, right? A lot of content is going out. And the first problem I see here is the packaging, right? As we talked about, one of the first mistakes, we can see this gentleman is making that same mistake where he's struggling to get a lot of viewership. But really, when we're talking about leverage, we're talking about giving ourselves the most opportunity for success. So if we know that we need to have leverage to beat the other agents in our market, how are we going to actually get leverage? Well, the first thing I'd recommend is hiring an editor, and not just hiring an editor from Fiverr, someone that's you're going to pay 50 or 100 bucks a video. Hiring real talent that is actually going to give you your time back. What I find is most people want to penny pinch and hire the most affordable or cheapest editor, but what happens is they don't really align with the way you typically want your videos to go. They have, spelling issues. You're going through multiple revisions. So if you're watching a 15 or 20-minute video, you're watching it 3, 4, 5 times to make sure everything's correct. That can really add up on your time. But if you just go and hire a really talented editor, someone who's great at editing, then that's going to save you a lot of your time, right? You're not actually having to go and do as many revisions. You don't have to tell someone your vision. You don't have to send them a video to kind of explain what you're talking about. You're actually working with good talent that understands the way that you want your videos to go. And the second thing I'd recommend delegating is your thumbnail. They purchase like a subscription on Canva. A lot of agents love Canva. Don't get me wrong, I love Canva as well. It's super easy and friendly to use. But when it comes to your thumbnail, it's the first thing people see. And if it takes you 2, 3, 4 hours to do one of those, I mean, what is your time worth to you, right? Is it worth for you to design a thumbnail? Or is it worth for you to hire a designer? Now, again, I want to say, don't just hire a cheap designer, someone you're going to pay $5 or $10 for on Fiverr. Hire someone qualified. I mean, our in-house team, we're paying anywhere from like $150 to $200 per thumbnail design. And we do multiple variations sometimes. That's the level that we go to when we are creating our thumbnails for the different agents we work with. But what that allows us to do is have the best thumbnails over anybody else. And when our thumbnails show up, people click. And that's what gets our channel to the top. That's what gets our videos to the top, is because we put in just that much time and effort into those. Now, the third thing I'd recommend delegating out is going to be the YouTube strategy. Now, when it comes to YouTube strategy, there's two main types of strategists that you'll find in this space right now. Number one, you'll find a strategist that has experience on YouTube in general, and they're in the real estate space, but they're optimizing for views because their background's in YouTube. And on pretty much every other industry, they're trying to have as many views as possible. When they come into real estate, that's something that they try to do as well, which is wrong because what we want to optimize for is leads. Yes, we of course want to get the highest views, but we also want to make sure that those views are in the right spot so that we're actually getting people to reach out. The second type of strategist that we see right now is people that were a real estate agent originally. They had a channel that was successful. Then they sell some type of program or a course to kind of coach agents on that. And the only problem with that is they have limited data on strategy. They only know the real estate niche. And the truth is, to be successful and build a really big channel, whether it's in real estate or whatever else, you need to have an understanding of YouTube as a whole. And we believe our team has that. We've been in the real estate space for a long time, worked with some of the fastest growing channels that not only getting good views, but are also converting really high numbers. But me and my business partner Dylan also have a background as strategists for channels with hundreds and millions of subscribers in multiple other niches. So just a reminder, if you want help on building and growing a YouTube channel, feel free to reach out to us. If not, we hope we give you enough value so that one day when you are ready, you do reach out to us as well. Now, the fourth thing I'd recommend delegating out is what I call not your specialty. So I want to give credit to Jackson, who runs the Living in Houston, Texas channel. If we just come here to one of his videos, if we come down to the description, you'll see that Jackson Wilkie is actually an unlicensed agent in Texas. And then his partner, Joe Rodriguez, is a licensed agent. So the way that they run the channel is Jackson runs YouTube channel. He runs all the strategy. He does the thumbnail designs, the titling. He manages the editing team, and however else they run everything else. Where Joe is actually the one who's closing all the leads. So Jackson's full focus is on the channel, and that's really the highest form of delegation that you can have. Is really have specialties. He's focusing fully on the channel, and then you have Joe, who's fully focused on closing all the deals. So what they've been able to do with delegating is make sure that they're both best at what they're supposed to be best at. So Jackson's not going to go close deals, and Joe's not going to go and run the YouTube channel because that's not their specialty. And it's been a really, really great and successful partnership. I mean, they absolutely crush it. The question you can ask yourself is, am I the person that needs to be on the channel, or is it someone else, right? Maybe you're the person who is on camera and you are recording and you're the one who's out and about and you're understanding doing and learning about YouTube, and you partner with someone who is specialist in closing deals, or maybe vice versa. Maybe you're just really, really good at closing deals and you need to find someone who's got an awesome personality, who can be on camera, who can show things, who doesn't mind, getting a little uncomfortable. Also, are you just like good with a camera? If you're having to learn how to work a camera, how to work lighting, how to work mics and batteries, to use, like all that stuff, then maybe the shooting isn't for you, right? Because it's not your specialty. So just working through a partnership is another amazing way to build a successful channel. It's one of the best ways that you can actually build leverage. So look through these options and see what can I delegate and where can I give myself some additional leverage. Now, if you don't avoid this next mistake, your channel is going to stop growing, you're going to stop getting leads, and eventually you're going to have to quit because you don't get enough business. There's a quote I've said many times on this channel, and it's by Albert Einstein. It says, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. There's a really common narrative that's pushed here in the real estate space. It's that if you just continue on making videos, if you just go, make more videos, even if it's bad, even if it doesn't get a lot of views, if you just keep going, eventually your channel is going to take off, be successful, and you get a bunch of business. But the truth is, you need to be consistent. You need to keep posting and posting and posting, but you also need to keep learning and applying what you learn. And if you don't see an increase in viewership, and especially leads, you're doing something wrong. If you go back onto your channel and you look at your channel analytics over the last 90 days and you see that your channel is down, there's definitely something that you're doing wrong. Now, not only views, but we also have to look at leads. There's definitely instances where you may have lower views for 1 month or something, but leads are up, you're doing great. That's the highest priority. So if leads are still good, probably not a cause for concern. But if you consistently see that views are down and leads are down, you're not going to be able to get more business by doing the same thing. That means it's time for you to adapt and make a change. And a simple way of spotting this, you can go into multiple markets where people started their channel maybe 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and they just had this massive viewership, right? They were crushing it. They maybe have 5,000 subscribers or 10,000 subscribers, and they're just absolutely dominating. Today, they're getting 1,000 views or 2,000 views. Like if they have that huge ratio, like a 30,000 viewership to like 2,000 or 3,000 viewership, something is really wrong there. It just shows you that they didn't adapt with the time. So we want to make sure that if we're trying to grow a channel, we're also adapting. Now that's just the first part of actually adapting. The second part is even more important. And that's where I'd recommend reinvesting back into your channel. Any lead source, anything that you're doing in terms of marketing, and most businesses, they're going to take a portion of the proceeds and put it back into the channel year over year. A lot of agents, again, if you look back 2 years ago when they started, or since they've been growing their channel, they're working with the same editor, same thumbnail designer, same people that are typically overseas, which is okay, but we also want to make sure our talent is leveling up. If our editor that we're working with has not improved drastically over the last 2 years, if our thumbnail designer has not improved drastically over the last few years, then it's time to work with better talent, especially if you can afford it, because the space is getting so much more competitive. I mean, people are investing into videographers, people are investing into top tier talent, people are now working with strategists, people from outside of the real estate space are coming into real estate. Look at Monica Church, look at Brad McCallum, who's got some of the best property tours. So people are leveling up in this space, and it's going to become more and more competitive. If you're just comfortable with your systems and the way that you've been running for the last 2 years, it's time to wake up, because it is getting more and more competitive. And I'm only just saying that as a warning, because that's what we did with our channel in Las Vegas. There's people that are at the top who are complacent. They're not, reinvesting back into the channel. If they were reinvesting back into the channel, it would be a lot harder for us to do the strategy that we did and come in and compete. So just keep that in mind. If you are one of those top channels, or if you are in kind of the top spot in your market right now, make sure that you are looking at, hey, how do I actually keep improving what I'm doing, and don't just get complacent on what you're doing with the channel. Now, last mistake was a pretty big one, but this one can actually cost you money. I'm talking tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. There's a study done back in 2000 called the Jam Study. And basically what it was is they set up 2 different booths outside of a mall. One booth had 24 jars of jam, and the other booth had 6 jars of jam. What they were trying to see is how many people were actually coming to the tables and purchasing jam. And what they noticed is the table with 24 jars of jam, over 60% of people stopped at that table. table, but only 3% of people made a purchase. Whereas the table with 6 jars of jam, only 40% of the total people stopped there, but out of those people, 40% made a purchase. And this is how we discovered the phenomenon of choice overload. And it's actually what a lot of agents do in their videos. The mistake I see agents make when they're creating content is they're trying to think of, what do I want people to do? And they have so many different things they want people to do. They want them to like and subscribe. They want people to call and text them. They want people to book on a Zoom call. They want people to download their relocation guide, to visit their website, check out their Instagram and their Facebook page. I mean, there's so many things I've seen in one single video with call to actions everywhere. And what happens is it's choice overload. It overwhelms the audience that's watching, and it's actually going to get them to most likely do none of the above. What you actually want to do is you want to give your audience one call to action. That call to action you can put 2 to 3 times in your video, but we don't want to overwhelm them. So let me show you an example. In one of our videos, we have a graph right here that we flash up on the screen at the end, which has a QR code to our Calendly, so people can book in a Zoom call. Now we have that because a lot of people watch on TV. You know, we're seeing 60, even 70% of our viewers are coming from TV. So that QR code is really nice to have. And then we also have call or text and just a big phone number. We don't have anything else distracting it. We've got a nice QR code and a massive phone number so people can clearly see it. And that's what we're telling people to do. Call or text the number on the screen. And what happens a lot of times? Well, people call and text that number because we're telling them very clearly the one thing that we want them to do. Now, if someone books in a call, that's awesome. It's there for people to scan it and check it out. But ultimately, what we want is to get them on the phone as quick as possible. Our text messages is one of the best ways to do that. So just a good reminder that a lot of the people watching the content don't know they can literally call or text you to work with you. And so if we have that clear call to action and we remind people they can actually work with us, you know, we're going to start getting business. Now, even if you're direct with your call to actions and you tell people to reach out, there's one thing that stops the viewer from actually turning into a lead. And it's one of the most overlooked mistakes you can make. So if we want our leads to reach out, we've got to understand what actually gets them to reach out. Like if they're going to call us, if they're going to text us, what's going to get them to take that next step? And it really comes down to 2 different things. Number 1, do they believe that you are a competent agent, right? Do they believe you can actually help them? Do they believe you're skilled? Do they believe you're a great agent? If you don't pass that first check, they're going to skip over you and they're not going to reach out. They're going to say, cool, thanks for the video, and they're going to move on. There's a lot of different things that you can do to show your audience that you're competent, and we're going to actually cover that in the next mistake, but I want to focus on the second part of what gets people to reach out to you right now, and that's going to be, is your audience actually immersed and do they get an experience from watching your content? That is really what sets apart the good and the great channels. The people that create content, and whenever you watch that content, you feel something. You want to come back for more. You know, after you watch it, you're like, wow, that was a great video. I mean, I'm so thankful. I want to comment, or I want to like the video. I want to text them. Those are the things that are going to set you apart. And so the way that you can get more people to reach out is by understanding, how do we get people immersed into our video? And this is where audio and sound design come in. And you're probably thinking, how is audio or sound design going to help me get more business? Well, I want you to think about the last movie or show that you watch. You know, if you ever watch a movie or show, they always have music that plays during certain portions of whatever you're watching. You know, if you're watching something that's fast-paced, there's a certain type of music. If you're watching something that's about to be a jump scare, there's a certain type of music. If you're watching something that's sad or happy, they have certain types of music. And they do that so that you can feel something when you're actually watching it. Not only are the visuals going to help, but the audio and the music that they choose is going to help change and direct the emotions that you feel as well. And that's really what makes our YouTube content good versus great. I mean, when you're out shooting content, you have parts of your video that have different moods. Not everything should be the same. You should take your viewer on a journey. In the introduction, when you're getting them set up and you're getting them hooked, there should be certain type of music. When you're then explaining certain things, there should be certain music. When you're telling jokes or saying something more serious, there's music that you can put throughout the video that's going to help that viewer go along that journey. And that's really, really, really a massive game changer. And this is especially important for people that do like talking head videos. If you're sitting and shooting content, you want to, you know, have some music in there because that can help turn a video that's otherwise pretty boring into something that's a little more entertaining. And that also means that you need to have a good mic. If you have a $20, $25 mic from Amazon, highly encourage that you level that up, get some really crisp, awesome audio in your videos. Most people can handle bad video, but bad audio is really hard to fix. And you're going to see a lot of people just off the video if you have poor audio. Another way to know if your audience is actually getting immersed is just to check your comments. I mean, you should be getting comments like, great video, okay, I'm sold, Summerlin over Henderson, you should do this type of video. I would love to see more videos on new builds, heaven on earth. I might move there from New York when I retire in about 10 years. Awesome video, thank you. Hi Olga, I'm 155 on the like button. I mean, these comments are just so positive because they're immersed into the content that we're creating. So because we're creating this amazing experience, they feel some type of obligation to like, subscribe, to reach out, to comment, right? These are all the things that you should be seeing when you're getting your audience to really enjoy your content. Now, this last mistake is something that's going to elevate the types of leads that you're actually getting from YouTube. So it's going to raise the price point. It's going to get you more leads just by simply fixing this. Now, I want you to imagine that you committed a crime. I know you would never do that, but let's say it was some petty crime. You ran a traffic light or something. For some reason, you had to go to court. And because you were going to court, you decided that you were going to hire a lawyer to make sure you got out of the ticket, make sure it wasn't on your record, whatever. You go on, you find a lawyer, you book an appointment, and you show up to the office on time. You're ready to sit down and talk with your lawyer. And that lawyer shows up 15 minutes late for the appointment. Their hair's a mess. They've got papers everywhere. And they say, I'm sorry I'm late. They open their office, come sit in. No matter what they said, no matter how good their advice actually was, you're probably not going to listen to them because you're not going to see them as competent. And that's because first impressions matter. Because the first impression you make on someone can determine how they take any of the other information that you give. Now, because we're on YouTube, when someone clicks on the video, the first thing they see is actually our studio and the way we present ourselves, especially if you're shooting talking heads. If you're shooting with a blank background and no great lighting and your audio is bad and you're not dressed up, that's probably not the first impression you want to make to your audience. Or maybe it is, right? I don't know. It depends on the audience that you're trying to build. But I would just think about it a little bit more, especially if you're going to be shooting in one place consistently. I'd think about making that place look pretty nice. I don't know what my background says about me, but just having some decent lighting, having something in the background, having like your sports team in the back if you wanted to. Maybe there's an award or a plaque. Maybe there is a painting. Maybe there is a bookshelf and it shows that you like reading. Whatever that is that you can have in your studio, I would just encourage you to set it up and do it once. Make it look really good. It's one of the ways that we've seen our own clients with just simple changes like that go from getting a certain quality of lead to elevating the types of leads that actually reach out, higher price points, people with bigger down payments, people that are moving sooner, right? We've seen a lot of those things happen just with the elevation of the way that the audience sees them in terms of competence. So if you haven't done something like that, I'd highly encourage you to invest into your studio space and really just elevate that a little bit more. Every single one of these mistakes, if you fix it, it's going to take your channel to the next level. It's going to help you maintain or be on pace to be the biggest channel in your market. Now, if you're really serious about YouTube and you want to learn how to build a channel that does $1 million or more, you want to know the strategy that it takes. You want to know the effort that it's going to take. Well, good news for you, just click right here and watch this video.